Thank you again for joining us today. Don't be a fool. Play on April Fools. Know your digital partner. I'm Elizabeth Bernberg, Senior Director of Business Development, and with the one and only Mr. Ben Bauslog, our VP of Business Development. Y'all, we are talking about, what's out there in terms of digital partners, from systems and services, giving you some insight into how you should really know what you're paying for, what a partnership should really look like in terms of your business success, what success means to you and your company. But we're going to touch on also how to align your objectives, your goals with the partner, and make sure that this is not a templated play, right? Your business isn't templated, so your partnership should never be templated either. Why you should always put, as we always should, our advertisers and clients number one. And then, of course, the importance of trying before you buy, test driving, taking it for a spin, getting a feel. So we are recording today's webinar. As we do, we want to make this as fun as always, as conversational as we possibly can. Any questions that you might have, please feel free to use the chat feature or the Q&A feature in Zoom. Ben and I'll be checking that, of course, throughout today's webinar. And we're going to get to it. Ben, anything else?
I was going to say, make sure you're using the chat features. We're happy to answer any questions while we're going through this. We're talking specifically towards like digital partners and how to use them, how to leverage them, and understanding what you're getting out of them, and the true partnership you get out of it. Remember, this isn't, but you can use a lot of this stuff when you're vetting out other tools, technologies, pieces to create, efficiencies across your businesses. It's always worth it to dive just a little bit deeper each and every single time, or even more deeper when you guys are looking at making these types of investments. So keep all that in mind. I'm going to add one other thing to this, Elizabeth. We're going to start this webinar now, and by the time this webinar ends, however many people who are on here now and they go to LinkedIn and like Ed Sarnt, I'm keeping track of all of our notifications right now. If you like Ed Sarnt on LinkedIn, whoever's doing it between now and the end of this webinar, I'm going to offer a $25 gift card to just for going there and liking us and following us on LinkedIn. So I'll keep track of that, and we'll pull a raffle out later on.
That is legit. I love that, Ben. That was a surprise for me. So yes, $25 for liking us on LinkedIn. I did see we have an attendee say, is the chat disabled? It should be working. I did see the question come through. So hopefully it is functional on your side, and we'll be able to check out these Q&As as they come through.
Yeah, it may just be the chat feature is disabled, but feel free to use the Q&A feature, and we will make sure that we'll send out all the recordings afterwards as well.
100%. All right, y'all. We've been lingering on this slide for a little bit, so you probably might have been able to already read it, so I won't go over verbatim. But we kind of like to set the stage, get everyone thinking about these things. And I love what Ben just said, that this is not just also about, finding the right digital partner. Obviously, that's the core of what we're talking about. But the application, of course, is really anything and everything, right? Just asking further questions, taking a further look into the why behind companies doing what they do, who's benefiting from it the most. Are they aligning with your objectives, your business ethics, your business mission and practices? These are really important things to think about above and beyond just the digital partner, but just business in general. So questions to think about: what's most important to you in a partnership, right? Is it transparency? Is it trust? Is it access? Is it a combination of these elements? When it comes to business, Ben and I ask this one a lot. I love this. What keeps you decision makers out there, and even your sellers, anyone, what keeps you up at night? What is that Sunday night stress moment, right? And you wake up and you're going, shoot, man, I wish that I had this, or man, it would be so great if we could execute this that way. What keeps you up at night? Do you have a partner vetting process? Do you guys have a certain kind of, MO with how you go about understanding and the questions that you're asking when you're vetting out partners? And is it applicable to everyone, right? Making sure that we're creating an equal playing opportunity and making sure everyone's kind of playing in the, in the same game, an ability to address the same questions that you have. Are you looking for short-term successes or long-term gains? What are you trying to do with this partnership? How is this going to really either change your entire business model for long-term revenue growth, gains, development, a whole new arm of the business? Or are you just looking for something short-term, transactional? And that's okay. It's just important to know what you're looking for to make sure, like we do with clients, we're setting up the appropriate expectations.
I know when you're vetting out all these things, it's important to probably put together a small committee of people. You don't just want one mind trying to think of all these things. The best idea should win. You as an individual, if you're the only person in your company, obviously that one mind will always win. But if you have multiple people, multiple stakeholders, or people who are going to be involved in this process that will be included, make sure you get some of their input as well. I think that's so important. So I like these questions that you put together, Elizabeth. These are things that everybody should be really dialing in on when we're thinking about, hey, what do we need most in a digital partner to support our growth and continuation of how we're supporting our customers?
I love it. And I love what you mentioned too. And, getting other stakeholders involved internally, right? This not only impacts sellers, of course, and, people on the front lines. This impacts your accounting team. This impacts your traffic team, your fulfillment, right? Your marketing team. This is an all hands on deck kind of thing. So I love that you pointed that out, Ben. A committee or, getting key, touch points across the company, super important. All right. Questions have been asked. You guys are noodling on them. Quick overview, who AdCelerant is. Many of you all know this. Of course, we see many of our partners here on this webinar. Thank you for joining us. But we also have a handful of prospects, actually a decent amount of people who might not know about AdCelerant. Don't worry, we just have one slide here. But in the deck, there will be a full appendix going into a deeper overview of who we are. We're a technology company, y'all. At the crux of everything we do, we are a technology company, but we are also a digital marketing company. And our goal, our war cry, our chant, our mission, our tour de force, why we do what we do, it is to make the complexities in this digital space, and we all know there are a lot of them. I'll be the first to raise my hand. It's to make it simple. It's to make it simple and easy, not only for your team, but at the end of the day, for your advertisers, right? We've got to make this simple, seamless, and easy for them. We are, of course, that white labeled provider offering the full stack of capabilities, proprietary technology, all the cool stuff. But let's dive in, shall we? A few quotes here that I love. Here's the lady. Here's the gal, Oprah Winfrey. Surround yourself only with people who are going to take you higher. This applies to business as well. Who's going to elevate you? Who's going to level you up?
This is like the perfect time to introduce the song by Creed, right? Can you take me higher? That's the kind of stuff that you need to look for, though, right? It's you don't just sign up for stuff just to put it in the arsenal and never use it. You do it so that you can enable yourself to do something more, do something better, do something stronger, do something differently than what you're doing today. Can you take me higher?
I love that. The way to achieve your goals is step by step, methodical, have a process, crawl, walk, run. You just need to build enough track to be ahead of the train, have a plan in place. Does your partner do that? Have they helped you create that methodology, that crawl, walk, run? This to me is my favorite one, Ben. Innovation happens at the intersection of people, process, technology, customers, and business ecosystem. Y'all, this is it. And I'm a former AdCelerant partner myself. Many of you know, and I've worked with other providers out there, other businesses, and they might have only really focused on one of these elements, right? It could have been all process. Maybe it's all technology. Ooh, we got the slickest, coolest, blow your hair back thing that you've ever seen. Okay, great. What happens when my team needs people support? Then what? I don't want to talk to a computer. I want to talk to a person. So this to me, in terms of innovation, that leveling up, that getting your company to the next phase of your business and where we are all headed, with this digital transformation.
Look at
Incredibly important.
think about your day-to-days. Think about how much technology you guys use, but then also thinking about how much the importance of like that people connection is too, right? Like, are you using a tool, you don't know how to use it, and then they send you a list of articles to read on how to figure it out?
Pull my hair out.
Pick up that phone and call Elizabeth and say, "What's up, E? How do I do this?"
I'm gonna say, I got you. So Ben, tell us a little bit more. What's out there? Like what's happening? Who's playing in this space? What are they doing? How can people kind of start to figure out what's going to be a good fit for them?
Well, there are so many things out there. You have all these different acronyms like CRMs, like your customer relationship management systems, your operating management systems. There's reporting dashboards. There's third-party reporting systems. There's so many different systems out there. Make sure when you're vetting these things out, when you do demos with people, when you do, your first couple of phone calls, be as blunt and as candid and as specific as you can be to ensure you know exactly what you're looking for and they know what you're looking for. Because if you get sold something that isn't necessarily exactly what you need, then it's going to be a tough match there. And, the last thing you want is getting caught in a contract where you're paying for certain things when you end up not using it in the long term. It's unfortunate. Those things happen. So make sure you are very specific about what you're looking for and lean into different like associations or your peers in the industry and learn about what they're using as well, right? If you're using something or you have friends that you've met at conferences or different like Facebook groups that you're part of because you're in that specific role or industry, check in with them. Learn about what they're using, how they've created these efficiencies across their business as well. There's so many different third-party systems out there. When you're looking at them, you guys, see if there's a way that they connect. See if there's a way that they talk as well. So you have all these different systems. And then on the digital side too, you have all these different products. If you think about it, I mean, we have over 60 products ourselves.
Yeah.
There's display products, video products, email products, search products, earned and owned products, all sorts of things out there, social media, even websites. It is a lot going on. So you need to make sure that you're diving deeper. You understand kind of what's on the menu. I know a lot of these menus are very vast, but if you can, hire, or if you could put somebody in place that is a little bit more dangerous and understands what is on that menu, make sure you pull in people smarter than yourself sometimes. That's something I'm good at. I always call Elizabeth if I really need anything at all. So
he's the smartest one though, because he does.
So those are the things that you need to be looking for. Also, when it comes to services, when you're looking at digital providers, what does training look like? What are those sales training services? Not just operational trainings and onboarding, how to use the technology, but obviously if you're going out there looking for digital partners because you want to grow your sales, what does sales enablement truly look like? Understand what does training look like, get specific. How is that going to work? Is there a learning management system? Do we Zoom train? Do we have people that come to our office and train us in person? What does that actually look like? And then even so, beyond that, workflow services and how the technology is actually used. You need to make sure you walk through it from soup to nuts. Try to put yourself in that seat. Use yourself as an example. And when you're getting these demonstrations from different platforms, use your own example. Use yourself or use one of your clients as you're going through this. You don't want to sit here and let them guide you and show you, oh, this is how it works from soup to nuts. You should do your best to put yourself in the driver's seat of that and ask them to allow you to do that, because you want to make sure that even if it's your first time through, it may not be perfect, but try and figure out what's out there. So understanding what you're looking for, what's actually out there in terms of products, in types of actual services that you get, or even technologies, that's really important. You need to also think about the comparisons between them, because there's a lot of like one-trick ponies out there, people who support just a single particular piece. Maybe they only are an SEO vendor, or maybe they're only a programmatic vendor, or maybe they're only a CRM system. Understand exactly what they do. And then even technology stacks. Is it purely the tech side and they don't do any of the fulfillment and execution? Or do they not have any people support in there to help you guys out when you might get stuck with something? Or is it a full stack solution? And even on that piece, what do they consider a full stack solution?
Right.
So there's only a couple of full stack solutions that cover, all these products, all these technologies, all the sales support, the enablement, all the things you need out there. Make sure you know the full breadth of it as well. This next slide is really, really important as Elizabeth's going to dive into this and understanding exactly what you're paying for, because it's not just about the high level overview of what you're getting for. Digital media has been incredibly commoditized. Anybody can do it. Cousin Billy can do it. He just graduated from high school. He's sitting in grandpa's basement. He can do it for you. I've literally heard people doing that a lot. It's concerning. But think about what you're actually getting here, because quality truly matters. Elizabeth, tell us a little bit about why all these systems are not necessarily created equal.
100%. These three things that you see right here, inventory access, software, and reporting, these should be front and center of areas where you should really ask for more information, take a deeper dive into, because there are a lot of different ways from an execution standpoint, from a creation standpoint, and an application standpoint that can really create smoke and mirrors, if you will, across these three areas. So inventory access. When we talk about inventory access from the Adcelerant standpoint, when we're talking about programmatic campaigns, we're serving ads and prioritizing our delivery on the top tier publisher websites. A list of 5,000 publisher websites. News, information, travel, entertainment, your CNNs of the world, Fox News, CBS Sports, Redbook. Totally dated myself there, y'all. High five. Words with Friends, Candy Crush, very well-known publisher and mobile app sites. That's our inventory access. We're also using a specific DSP that allows us to really have that depth and breadth of that access with our own quality rails too. What kind of inventory are you accessing right now with your current provider? Can they share with you their process, their quality control process around the kinds of websites where your advertisers might be serving on? Software. How was their software created? Where was it created? And that's actually a question on another slide, definitely something to ask about, because there are different ways to, achieve something very slick and cool. It can be incredibly cost effective, but then you're missing, elements from a sales enablement standpoint. There are going to be gaps. So make sure software is really something that is seamless, right? That can go through that entire digital sales process, not just focus on one element, not just on the proposal side, not just on the reporting side, something that truly locks arms with your sellers through that entire process with transparency, y'all. Transparency.
It's huge. So when you tie together the software and reporting pieces, understand what your partners are doing to put those together. Is it proprietary to them? Is it third party? How do they work? What happens if issues arise? The world's never perfect. Technology is never perfect as we want to make everything. I mean, my phone shut off in the middle of the night for some reason. Who knows why that happened? Especially if you have partners who are leveraging third-party platforms at all, they're not necessarily controlling that ecosystem. So if you do have a partner that controls everything, they control, how well it works together and how fast it happens. All too many times I've seen partners of ours who have other systems outside of ours that say, hey, this system was talking to that system and it, the data didn't flow through correctly. And when we asked these two systems, two different partners of theirs to fix it, they all start pointing fingers at each other. It's their fault, and they don't really get anywhere quickly. We literally had an update in our system last night. I had an email in my inbox at, I think, 7 o'clock this morning saying, hey, we realized that we're missing some data. We're fixing it right away. We actually had it fixed within like 2 hours. I think by 9 a.m. it was totally fixed because Adcelerant controls that entire ecosystem. So just an example of things that you guys need to dive deeper into when you're thinking about, hey, why is this going to be important for me? Because if this kind of break happens, how does it affect not just me, but my customers as well?
Love it, Ben. Love that. And I think too, these other two elements, here on this slide in particular, onboarding team and pricing, people are always talking about, how do we get set up, especially those who are really expanding into the digital space. Ask about what that onboarding process is like. Are they really putting together, is the partner putting together a success plan? Are they invested in your success along with you? Are they coming up with strategic plans to reach key benchmarks based on your goals, based on your objectives, and how you plan to see your ROI with this partnership? That's what we do. That is a huge part of what AdCelerant does. And the pricing too, you've got to make sure that you are seeing all the ins and outs in terms of pricing, a matrix, very transparent, and, read the fine print. If there's any fine print on that rate card, that could mean that something else is included. Is the budget all going towards media, or is there, a caveat? Like, is it maybe going to something else? Is it helping support another arm, of the software? These are things to really think about too, when we're looking at digital partnerships that are going to align with your company.
That's a good note to make there as well, Elizabeth. With the pricing that's involved, think about, like, if you're getting software included in this stuff, and say they give you a full platform, you only get charged for maybe the media. It's, that's interesting, because if you've ever bought any other software, did you get it for free? Probably not. If they're including it and baking it in, that means they're baking it into your media, which means you're getting less for your media and other things there as well. So I'd love to dive into that deeper. For sake of time, I'm not going to, but if you guys have questions about how to differentiate between where am I getting things as added value and where are they actually peeling away value from me, we'd like to dive into that deeper with everybody.
Absolutely. And Ben, speaking of, something sounds too good to be true, then it probably is. We know this. I mean, we all know this, even from the stuff that our kids are telling us, I did this and that and the other, and it's amazing. And it all was for free. Really? Tell me more about that. Ben, can you kind of just touch on, these elements here and really where, prospective partners of ours and people who are looking in this space, where they can really uncover some truths that may not be overtly available from the other side?
No, I completely agree with you here, Elizabeth. And you know what? Who can do a better job of articulating these things than I can is our partners, because they leverage a lot of these things, or they get to leverage it every single day. So as people on your side, everybody who's listening here today, think about your sales enablement. Are we getting the training that we need? The digital space is constantly evolving. Are we staying on the forefront of it so that we can make sure our customers are getting the best possible solutions that they need? And then also, are we giving them the next best thing that we can, in terms of what's going to provide true performance for them too, right? Additionally, when it comes to sales enablement, just kind of like a tag off of that, pre-sales tools and resources. You don't learn this stuff overnight, right? You have to be able to be dangerous to some extent. And so if you have tools that, provide you with data that shows, pokes holes in certain areas where your customers might need some assistance that you can support, or if you can show them, hey, this is what your competitors are doing and we should be doing this so that we can exploit what they're doing. Those are really important pieces to the puzzle. And then also, do you have people that support you through that sale? Hey, I remember Elizabeth, just last week, you got pulled into a call. I know somebody asked you, said, Elizabeth, can you join me on the sales call? I just need some air support. It's my client. I'm doing all this stuff. Can you come in as my white label resource and say, I'm your digital specialist? That's what Elizabeth did. That's what our team is actually doing. So it's not just about the tools, it's the resources, the people, even the decks, the marketing materials, the one sheets, the leave behinds that you can share with your customers. Make sure you get all those things, because a lot of times you're going to have partners out there that just give you what they told you they'd give you and nothing more. So ask for more, ask for more, ask for more. Retention renewals is important as well, because you don't want to just sign somebody up for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. You want to, maintain and retain that business for a year, several years even. Retention renewals is important. And as you continue to grow your business, it's going to be tougher to kind of keep track of a lot of different things. So do you have a team of people or even technologies in place that help make sure that you stay on top of those pieces of the puzzle or the pieces of your business that are retaining? Because it's all about compounding revenue, right? I think
Yeah.
the American dream is to, start from here and just grow it up and keep doing more and more and more, right? So if I have people that are supporting me with the retention of what I'm working on, helping me renew campaigns, make sure we can find ways to upsell them, that means my business is going to continue growing as well. And the way that you do that is through campaign analytics, making sure you have the right resources, you have the right metrics of performance that you really need to focus on, like tracking and conversions. And then you have that additional support, and then I'm trained on it on a regular basis. You can't train one time in a year and say, hey, I know everything that's going on. We have to consistently train. I think that's so important in not just the digital space, but every part of our lives, right? There's different ways that we consume food. There's different ways that we consume media. There's different ways that we're able to build plans around raising families and buying vehicles and using technologies for your home. This is for everything. You have to continually retrain yourself and find new ways to create new efficiencies because of technology, we're doing more with less all the time.
Ben, I love what you said. I mean, obviously throughout everything, could not agree more. The retention and the renewal part though, gosh, business today is one thing, meaning getting those IOs, getting those orders. And, today is one thing. You want a partner who's going to help you get the IO that's coming tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. You plan on being in business and continuing to be in business. So I love that outlook too, that it is a very proactive approach to business. It's not about today's wins. It's about tomorrow's pipeline, tomorrow, next year's wins, and making sure you have that sustainable path to grow through your partner. Love it. I tell you, Ben.
Well,
go.
Elizabeth, you tell me this stuff all the time. Me and you need to be on the same page, right? We need to be working on the same things.
Dang, hear me out, Ben.
Well, you have to align yourself. You have to align your own company's objectives with what they're doing, with what your digital partners are going to be doing as well. Are they focused on the growth of your company? Are they focused on creating the efficiencies that your team needs? Are they focused on making sure that you're retaining your business, that you provide the transparency to your customers, that you're helping them drive real traction through their campaigns? You need to have that alignment. Elizabeth, tell them a little bit more about how we're creating alignment with our customers and what is needed there to continue to evolve it as well.
Well, and it's really all about what even you said earlier. It's feedback from our partners. This is not, templated, right? This is not round hole, square peg, round hole. God, did I say that saying right? I always muck it up, y'all. I'm so sorry. But you know what I mean? We are not trying to squish you into a template that's going to make sense for us because it's easy, right? We want to make sure that we are aligning and molding to each other's objectives. What's going to be successful? What does success mean to you? And how are you going to lean into our technology, our support, our team to do what you need to do in the marketplace to help your advertisers, right? So we then mold ourselves around that. So being that proactive service, being that proactive partner, I mean, we've talked about that a ton, but also someone that's also very focused on security and transparency. That's paramount now. Big data, access to data, who's got what, deprecation of the third party of the cookie. Yeah. Cookieless future, is that coming or not? These are all important things. How is your partner? How are they attacking and approaching these conversations? How are they addressing security, long-term security? How are they looking at flexible and easy plans for partners? Something that makes sure that our partners are winning and actualizing revenue. And it's not just, hey, we're here when you need us. Cool, thanks. But that it's a plan that we can help you grow revenue because you want to continue to stay in business and obviously support your local advertisers. At the end of the day, you got to make sure it's a culture fit, right? What do you prioritize? What is important to you and your team? How do you differentiate yourself in the marketplace? Alignment with community, trusted, loyal news provider. What is that? You want to make sure that whoever you're bringing on board to support these efforts, they have that same alignment as well.
It's like I heard the saying, are you molding to them or are they molding to you?
Yeah.
Have that alignment up front and find out what's truly important. I think Elizabeth, you and we are so lucky. We get to talk to, oh my gosh, so many freaking people. It's awesome.
It is
We love it.
awesome.
And we're going to learn the pain points, right? Tell us about the 4 main pain points that our customers are asking for and how we're helping out with them.
Y'all, this is across the board. I mean, really, this is what we have heard time and time again. Ben and I, even other members on our business development team, shout out to Ken, Mike, and Brooke, who are crushing. Love y'all. This is really the trend across either people who are looking to transition from one provider to possibly AdCellerant, maybe organizations who are looking to expand into digital, or people who are just trying to elevate, right? They feel like they've hit a ceiling. It's time to hit that next level. This is consistent across all of those partner types. Revenue number 1, we're in business, y'all. We have got employees to pay. We've got bills and rent and technology and all this stuff and insurance and whatnot. Revenue, stakeholders. We've got to make sure that this is a viable solution that's going to help bring revenue into the company. Training. How are we arming our team appropriately to also not overwhelm them, but to empower them to really get behind this stuff, to really embrace it, to drink the Kool-Aid, but just get them, as we like to say, dangerous enough, right? They don't need to worry about how all this is made, what's happening behind the curtain here at Oz. They just need to be dangerous enough. Access. This was my big thing as a former partner. Yes, love the animation, Ben.
I don't know if it would work or not.
I'm so excited. Access, y'all, having account management teams, onboarding specialists, this is huge. And that's 100% always what you get with AdCellerant. People power, dedicated team, people you can call, text, snap. You have biweekly calls with them. But guess what? If you need to then tap into someone on our SEO team because you've got an audit that just came through, a customized audit for your client, and man, there's a lot of information in there that's kind of intense, a little overwhelming, meta tags, title tags, no worries. You have access to our experts on our internal SEO team who can join you on that sales call. We're white labeled too. We're just a part of the team, and we can bring it down to people terms, people terminology. So it's very accessible for your advertiser to understand the ins and outs of this audit, or the ins and outs of the SEM audit, or what's happening in reporting and analytics, because you have access to team members and experts across all of our departments. Technology. It's got to be easy. It's got to be seamless. It's got to work. And it's got to tie in all elements of the sales process. It can't just be on an island focusing one particular area, right? So we talked about that earlier. The AdCellerant solution really unifies all of those key components in that digital sales process. But friends, these are the 4 key elements that everyone is asking about. And again, whether they're starting from scratch or they're just ready to, blow out this year for another, stellar year and want to bring it up a notch, these are consistent across all of our partners and prospective partners. Leaning into tools and resources. So this is, of course, a lot tied to the people power, to the team, but also the tech and what it can provide easily, right? What is accessible within a few clicks so you can make that sales process with the advertiser easy. Remember, back to our mission statement, back to what we do. It's taking all the craziness of this space and making it easy and simple to understand. So getting your clients involved in the planning process. Our proposal tool is entirely white labeled. Once the team feels comfortable using it, y'all could go through that with your clients. Get them involved in planning and the targets. And hey, should we look at this other product? And you're able to be proactive and incredibly transparent in those recommendations because you're doing it together, right? And you're there, the client's getting skin in the game. Help them understand the benchmark. So this, I think, is super, super cool. In our newly updated software that we have in UI.marketing, y'all, you're going to be able to do a local SEO scan right then and there in the tool. So you can easily give your client a quick overview as to what their standing is in terms of listings on the internet at your fingertips and available within seconds. That's huge. And of course, you have the team here to be able to help address any questions. You've got easy support access through the tool, or shoot, text Ben, he's got you covered. This is the kind of tool and resource, whether it's pre-sales, whether it's you're in a conversation right now with your client and you need AdCellerant to join you, help get that deal across the finish line, or it's post-sales and you're talking about reporting, right? And you're going over these analytics and these metrics and you're creating that story of success. These tools all play into that retention. They all play into that long-term gain, that bigger business strategy for you and that bigger business strategy for your client.
I love all this stuff. You know what I love more is that it's all within a single toolkit. It's all within a single point of contact. You get all of your reporting in a single place. AdCellerant controls everything from soup to nuts. Your proposal side, your fulfillment and execution, your reporting. We help your training. We support your sales enablement. You know what that means is you're creating consistency across the board. So whether you ask Elizabeth the question or you ask me the question, you're going to get the same answer. And you know what that leads to is meaning you can focus less on just like what you're doing for your own teams and make sure you're always putting your clients and your advertisers first. So when you have the tools that help you create this, the efficiencies across the board, but then you have a team of people who are executing on those, you can get a little bit more creative. You can customize these campaigns a little bit more. You can ensure that you're tracking and have all that set up appropriately as well. You have a team of people who will literally come in and place pixels on your behalf, and that you have a partner that's prioritizing quality over quantity. We all love cheeseburgers, right? Do you love a cheese? Yeah, right. You love cheeseburgers from Fleming's or you love cheeseburgers from McDonald's more, Elizabeth? Because they're both cheeseburgers.
Dude, Fleming's.
Fleming's. Exactly. Let's go with the one that we produce quality over quantity. Instead of spraying and praying, dial it in. Make sure you have that focus and get the transparency out of your tools. When you focus on your clients, you're able to focus on your own ROI as well, because you're going to have higher retention rates, more renewals. You're going to have easier upsell opportunities where you're finding ways, hey, we can do this much more with that, Mr. Client, with this much more budget. And then you're also going to create more new business for yourself too. You know who sells your business better than anybody on your team? Your customers do. So that's what makes mine and Elizabeth's job so easy, is we love to give referrals. Hey, if any of you are interested in what an AdCellerant partnership can do for you, ask us for a referral. I'll connect you with one of our current customers. That is what puts you first in our mind and puts your advertisers first as well. So you guys can continue to get new business, retain your current business, and make sure you're continuing to grow. You're streamlining yourselves. You're working with a partner who wants to learn more about you, your pain points, and what we can do to fix those things. And that's what we bring to the table. Does it sound too good to be true? I'll tell you what, it's not too good to be true. There are a few caveats, and I want to share them with you guys, because there's zero outsourcing with your AdCellerant team. Anything you get from AdCellerant is done by an AdCellerant employee. You have your automation built in, so you can spend more time on revenue driving activities and less time on the minutia. You have a team of people who will literally pick up the phone and call you if we haven't gotten those creatives from you yet, or if we're having a hard time placing that pixel, or we're willing to jump on the phone call and help you retain that business, go over your customers' reports with you. Let's find out what it looks like.
So we totally recommend, highly recommend, no matter what you're checking out. Again, digital services provider, trafficking system, a new order management system, whatever it is, right? Getting a quote on, something specific for your house. How can you get access, right? And try before you buy, just like a car, take it for a test drive, right? So here's some really great questions just to keep top of mind when you're talking, specifically to a digital partner, but really anyone. It's just going into understanding their business model and the why behind what they do, right? So where's your technology and your software created? Why did you choose that? Right? If it's here in the US, if it's offshores, tell us why that decision was made, because that kind of speaks to maybe where they're going with their mission, right? What's most important to them. Where's your support team? Is it here in the US? Is it US based? Is it overseas? Are you outsourcing? Is it through another third party? Creating accountability. How are we able to create accountability for our team, for your team? You know, we're in this together. So we want to be sure that there is transparency into how my team's progressing through those training modules, right? Through your new academy, Adcelerant. But I also want to see Adcelerant, when you're communicating with us on a ticket, on an order, I want to make sure that, you know, you're in it too, right? You're in it to win it as well. So how are we all accountable for each other? Maintaining that consistency, just like Ben said earlier, making sure we're all on the same page. Are we consistent with the terminology, the pitches, the process? Are we helping the team overcome hurdles? So I would also ask, you know, your provider, how are you going to help our team address these objectives, you know, that come about? How do we get over these hurdles and really position our organization as the go-to for digital if we have some clients that are saying, you know, XYZ 1, 2, 3? How are we going to do that? Are you going to help us? And then top down, right? So as a partner, this is a top down, you know, initiative. Everything comes from exec leadership all the way down to middle management, down to sellers out in the field. We've all got to be on the same page with having digital be a priority, and we're going to lean into this software. But ask your partner that. How do they see all of this internally on their business side, right?
Mhm.
What's happening top down internally at the business side? How are they prioritizing, you know, partners and making sure their customers are always first, right? Transparency is paramount. What does that look like?
I love all this stuff. Seriously.
It makes me happy.
Take for a test drive, right? I didn't buy my car until I took it for a test drive. A lot of people are doing things so quickly. They're like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna just sign up for this. Sounds great. I'm gonna do it. And then you start to uncover things when you sign up with those kinds of partners, right? Try it out. I like to use the analogy, dipping your toes in the water before you start doing cannonballs, right? Hands-on experience, you know, get in the platform, use the proposal tools, understand what the training resources look like, understand what the requests and how to submit those and what kind of feedback and like response times you get out of that.
Yep.
You know, look at the reporting. What are you going to be sharing with your customers? And what's the ability of getting these teams involved as well? Hey, how are they really going to be involving? You sit here, you say that you're going to do this. Is it actually going to happen?
Yeah.
You know, get a feel for that process, the timeliness, the communication, the ease of use, the transparency, the partnership. I got a few good questions in here
Ooh,
that have been
let's get it.
awesome. I'm just going to go over a couple of them. I had somebody ask about, you know, pricing in comparison to other platforms. We're very competitive. I'd love to show everybody. We've got a full, very transparent, open rate card we'd be happy to share with everybody. Shoot me and Elizabeth a note if you want to learn more about that. Somebody asked a great question. Are there case studies available by different verticals? Yes,
You
there's a
betcha.
breadth of case studies available that we have ready for you guys. Somebody asked, where was this technology created? By our team.
US based, our team.
The great US of A. Most of our engineers are actually located in Denver, Colorado, but we do have a handful of people across the United States. Where is our call center located if customers have questions? We don't have a call center. You have the direct lines to your dedicated onboarding specialist, account manager, you know, support people. You have email direct to them or phone numbers that you can call, or you can submit a request. We actually have a live chat feature as well that's manned by real people. I should manned or womaned by real people.
That's right.
In there. And it's awesome because we actually have people who have moved from our sales team over to our support team. So I have a little bit more of a sales acumen. So they know how to dial in an answer for you instead of giving you something a little bit more robust where you hear sometimes. The best thing I've gotten so far, and I tell you earlier, Elizabeth, one thing we said was who sells Adcelerant better than we do is our customers. I'm going to call out Kathy a little bit real quick. Kathy says, my client was blown away with your free in-depth audit of their website. They still have a few questions, but your personal touch insensitiveness to their lack of knowledge made them feel safe. Meeting next week to get their success train on track. Good luck, Kathy. Thank you so much for the live testimonial. I owe you one. That's good stuff. Those are the types of things that we hear constantly. These pictures that you see in these decks, they're not stock photos. This is the real live AdCeleRamp team members. We got Henry with his back to us, Lynn, Chris, and Reagan sitting right there. These are real people. These are folks who are invested in your success, you guys. I think it's so important to see that. And Elizabeth, how do we check all the boxes for our customers?
I mean, y'all see it right here, black and white. People first. Our technology is awesome. People first. That is the big, huge box, and people access. Dedicated support, competitive pricing, as Ben said. We're also the full stack, offer all of these solutions, right? Again, removing that swivel chair, no hopscotching. Supports business efficiencies, so internal processes, right? Removing maybe duplication efforts. Gosh, let's make sure we're getting more precious selling time, PST, out there for our sellers. Transparency, and really, first and foremost, this is a partnership. This is not transactional vendorship. You know, we're here winning if you need us. No, we're here to lock arms with you. And I'm true testimonial myself. Lock arms with you in this together, in it to win it long term. Your success is our success. Let's do this together.
So this has been awesome. Thank you all so much for the wonderful questions. Love the engagement. I'm going to pull up the LinkedIn thing, see here. And it's not letting me pull the names until tomorrow. It shows you everything from tomorrow. So I'm going to pull a raffle tomorrow morning, and I'm going to shoot an email to the lucky person who's going to get that $25 gift card. Kathy, thank you so much for the live testimonial. James, April, everybody else, Heather, Leaf, thank you all so much for the great questions. We will look forward to the next webinar. It'll be a good one next month. Make sure you join us. I need to go prepare for a call that I'm sharing some reporting on behalf of one of our partners, see if we can go for the old upsell. So unless you guys have any other questions, I'm going to take off. But this was a great one. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, and everybody else for joining us.
Absolutely. Everyone have a great week, great weekend. Thanks again.
Bye, everybody.